Surprised nobody else is in here.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Boston Independent Drivers Guild coming to you live. We are just out here, we're streaming, and our theme for tonight is gig worker safety. And so I don't know if everyone knows this, but April 6th, that's tomorrow, is National Gig Worker Safety Day. And gig work is one of the most dangerous occupations to have in the United States and even the world. And so before we get started with our short show tonight, we just want to give you a little background about the Boston Independent Drivers Guild. It was founded in 2018 when a bunch of drivers just came together. They had a lot in common, the positives about gig work, even the negatives about gig work. And they actually met, and about 100 drivers showed up to that first meeting, and we realized together we are stronger. And so we always like to come to you live every once in a while, give you some pointers. We're also having an action tomorrow at Faneuil Hall. And if you're around at noon, please feel free to stop by and meet everyone. There's a lot of people in your corner as gig workers that you might not even know about. And so it's just myself and Steve tonight. And so now that we have the purpose of our organization, to add value to gig workers, to add value to drivers, and to help people out, we are going to we're going to go to our second topic. So just want to let you know something about myself. I am the executive director of the Independent Drivers Guild. My name is Beth Griffith. I have been driving going on 7 and 8 years. I am doing Uber. I've done Lyft. I've done Amazon Flex, DoorDash, Caviar, Postmates, signed up for Instacart, but never took the plunge, you name it. And so I have a lot of experience. I've been in used driver's shoes. And next, I'm going to pass it over to Steve Levine. If you could just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Hey guys, my name's Stephen Levine. Been a gig worker for a number of years, just like Beth here, my friend. I've worked on many different apps. So, started out with Uber, joined every single one of them that ever came to Boston, and currently doing just deliveries right now because I don't want to do ride sharing until things improve for all of us, because we all deserve the respect and pay that we all work so hard for. And until that changes, I don't see any need to give passengers a ride around town and just waste my time. On to you, Beth.
Okay. So we are going to get to the second topic. So how many of you guys know that ride sharing is this type of gig work is one of the most dangerous occupations to be in the United States and around the world? How many of you knew that? And what do you think it ranks? If anyone watching in the audience, how do you think it ranks in the most dangerous occupations? What do you think, Steve?
I think it definitely rates up there. I mean, it is a very dangerous occupation. We could be mugged, raped, murdered, assaulted in any given time, and there's no safety recourse whatsoever. And as much as we would like to have something in there for safety, it's ultimately It's ultimately going to be up to us to make it known to Uber and Lyft and all these other companies that we're not going to take it. Because even when you're doing a delivery, you could be robbed, you could be carjacked. It's going to happen. Never think that it's not going to happen, because someday it will, especially if you're in the wrong neighborhood.
Or you could be in the right neighborhood. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, or you
Some
could be in the
people,
and it just
I'm
just
trying to
some
tell you.
of a freak thing that could happen, which is scary.
So did you actually pick a number? Do you think it's number 3? You think it's number 7? You think it's number 10? What do you think
Um,
it is?
yeah, I would say number 10, because there are 10 deadliest jobs in the world, and truck driving is one of them. And I happen to be a truck driver, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that falls under number 9. Deadliest catch: the Alaskan king crab is number 10, because they're out there in 30, 40-foot waves on a 110-foot boat, lifting cages that weigh about 1,000 pounds and could slip, slide, and dismember you and throw you overboard, flood, and you'd be dead in seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You go out in that cold weather in Alaska. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna guess it's number 4, but don't quote me on that. It's a guess. No one likes to know it all. So I am totally, totally, totally gonna guess. You know, they say safety is no laughing matter, which is true. But so I'm actually gonna do some research. I'm about to go to Google University and see what Google University says. Okay. Definitely, definitely, definitely. So let's see what Google has to say. Give me a moment. What do you think some other dangerous occupations are besides truck driving and gig and ride sharing are? What do you think makes the top 3?
Roofing, because you're on top of houses on the roof with a rope that's barely able to hold on to you and your equipment at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Coast Guard,
Mm-hmm.
a hard one. Um, oof. Yeah, there's too many probably.
Okay. So let's see what they say. So driving for app-based services like Uber, Lyft, and Grubhub is now likely to rank somewhere between the top 13 and top 1% of most dangerous jobs out here. So you see, we put in our lives on a line every day, 24/7. So the report uses data on injuries and fatalities from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics to reach its conclusions, many of which shed light on the level of risk the gig economy is bringing to the workforce. So, wow. So it says transportation fatalities are the cause of 40% of all job related deaths annually. Dang. And so what it's saying is 86.9% of jobs have lower injury rates. And I think 50 rideshare drivers were killed. There's a report that is coming out tomorrow on National Gig Worker Safety Day. And so you really want to make sure you're protected, your families are protected. And it says fatal injury rates amongst Uber and Lyft drivers are equally high, 14.6 out of every 100,000 workers. This makes 80.5% of jobs safer than driving for a rideshare service. Uber and Lyft, get this, Uber and Lyft even have fatality rates that are 1.1 and 1.6 times the fatality rates for police officers and firefighters, two of the most historically dangerous occupations.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah. And so it says, what makes Uber and Lyft the perfect storm for car accident related deaths? Increased time on the road and irregular hours are two of the major reasons why rideshare drivers are more likely to crash their cars. Wow. So
I doubt it.
this is,
I mean, you got people who just like cross the street in the middle of the street. You got drivers who are doing illegal U-turns that are putting themselves at risk and for desperation. no,
okay. And it
no
also says
worth it.
road-related deaths and risks aren't the only dangers facing Uber and Lyft drivers and passengers. There have been passengers that have been killed and harmed as well. It says these app-based services leave people vulnerable to cyber attacks and liability because it's often unclear whether or not they're considered employees. And what I was telling a driver today, talking with them on the phone, the worst position you can be in as a rideshare driver is to get in an accident and it's actually not your fault. You better hope that that person whose fault it is, better hope they have livery plates or something like that, or it's another rideshare driver and they're on a job, because the liability insurance, sometimes it's a max of $30,000. Most people have the minimum on their cars. And so Uber and Lyft, they ain't paying out if it's not your fault. You can only get reimbursed the maximum amount of insurance the driver has that's at fault. So you're actually better off being in an accident if it's your fault and you're driving. Believe it or not, Uber and Lyft, they're not covering you. They're really not covering you at all.
But very soon, if we get the worker classification in the state of Massachusetts, that may all change.
Yeah, I always tell drivers. So that's a very good segue into our next topic, which is know how to protect yourself. So I always tell drivers, especially since you get in an accident, the passenger is going to sue you. You get in an accident, it's your fault. You're getting sued. One way or the other, you're getting sued. You're getting a lawyer. But if you own your car, put it in your business name. Open up an LLC. It is, I know in Massachusetts is $520, but $520 can save you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in the long run, because you want to take every asset you can out of your name. What if you own a house and you get in an accident? You're responsible. Then guess what? That person could go after your house. That person could go after your wages. Do everything through an LLC. Do everything in a business. Take it out of your name. Put the liability on the business. Make sure you have good insurance. Aflac is great. Gridwise is great. They offer, accident protection, sickness protection. You want to protect your income. You want to protect yourself. Also, another thing I say, get some pepper spray gel, get a permit. I know you're not supposed to carry a gun, lock and load, chitty chitty bang bang type of gun.
If you have,
But I know in certain states, some drivers have it because a lot of people rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. And we know there's that poor woman in Pennsylvania that got killed. There's carjackers. Drivers got carjacked here in Massachusetts. Chicago, they're getting carjacked in that area, getting carjacked on a daily basis. Florida, anywhere. I felt unsafe a lot of times. I've had people being inappropriate with me. It's dark. You're in the middle of nowhere. A passenger just makes the hairs on your neck stand up. You just get this uneasy feeling. I always make sure that I have a weapon in my car. I always make sure of that. You
And if
got to
you
make sure you protect yourself, make sure you have insurance, life insurance, any type of insurance you can. Because what happens if something happens to you and you can't replace, your family is depending on that income, is dependent on that income. So those are some of the ways that you can protect yourself. Get a dash cam. It didn't help that poor woman in Pennsylvania with, with anything. That perp didn't care that they were being recorded, which is a shame, no conscience at all. But it does help in certain situations. People will be more well behaved if you have one. Do you have any pointers, Steve?
Yeah, if you carry mace or well, there's particular maces, and if you carry a taser, you need to have a license for it. If you don't have a license, you're looking forward to about 2 years in jail, or 6 months to two
Oh
years.
yeah, license to carry. Up. I went to go get my license to
You need
carry.
to have a
I
BB
guess
gun.
rather have a taser.
Still need
Good advice. Good advice. And I would just say become familiar with certain areas, know where the police stations are in certain areas. I wish I had done that, especially when going to more remote areas of the state of Massachusetts. Um, you know, maybe in worst case scenario, crash your car because more than likely if someone's gonna rob you or assault you, they probably don't have their seatbelt on. And most of the time, most of the drivers I get in the cars, I know when I drive, I have a seatbelt on. So I would say crash your car. Crash your car, crash the car.
If
Because
you
hopefully
know,
that purple go flying.
if you have to though,
If you have to,
get
yeah,
a
if you gotta do what you gotta do.
get a seatbelt sign in your car, post it on your window that tells the customer they need to buckle up.
Hmm.
It's your life, your liability, your business right now. As an independent contractor, it sucks. You're not an employee yet, under state law at least. Um, Federal law is a completely different issue altogether, but we'll get to that at a later time. Um,
Hmm.
so, yeah, we
Okay.
have lots to talk about in the next couple weeks because we only have maybe
Hmm.
6 to 8 weeks till we find out what is going on in May
Okay.
because that
And
was
so
on the news.
yeah, so let's move to our next and final topic of the night. We're keeping this short, sweet, and simple. What do you do in a dangerous situation?
Deescalation training.
Hmm.
Rideshare guy
I
had some
mean,
really good stuff about that. He has a great
I
article on it.
mean, yeah, you can try to de-escalate the situation. That's always a good thing. Um, be prepared, be
Be around,
alert, stay alive.
and have a dash
Uh,
camera, two-way dash
have a
camera.
dash camera, have
That goes,
your weapon on you. You don't have that pepper spray, that hand sanitizer, or even an air freshener. The air freshener comes in handy if you spray that in someone's eyes. They're not going to be expecting that. Or you have Lysol, with COVID, the Lysol, the microban, or whatever the heck it's called, whatever you have, just spray that. I'm telling you, you could burn somebody's eyes out with that. No, you have to improvise. And then if you get in an accident, I always like to make sure I have a knife or a pair of scissors with me. You never know. You want to be able to cut yourself out of the seatbelt if you do have to crash
gotta
your car,
have those serrated.
and if it flips over, and then potentially have a tool that can bust out your window if you need to get out. If you're like submerged in water, you want to either, if you can't bust the window out or if you're already underwater, you're just going to have to wait. Don't panic. Wait until the vehicle fills up with water and exit the vehicle. Another thing too, I don't know, do you drive with your child safety locks on, Steve, or don't you?
No, I learned the hard way not to do that.
Oh, I do, because I've had passengers open up the door. You have kids in the car and they open up the door.
I
So I
read
actually would drive with my child safety locks on and unlock the door for them.
it is smart to do that, but it opens yourself up to a can of worms you really don't want to get into. But if you
Okay.
if you lock the door yourself, then you're safe. If you have it on, there's there's something I read about. It's an
Mhm.
attempted kidnapping charge they can do onto you. It's premeditated.
Well, I've never detained anyone with it. I'm just saying people open the door all the time. You ever had one of those situations
Oh
where
yeah.
they almost knock your door over? That happened. They actually happened to a
Mm.
friend of mine doing rideshare, and her door was actually damaged. So I've never detained anyone using that feature. I'm just trying to make sure my vehicle doesn't get damaged. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to detain anyone at all. And just something else. So we are having a rally tomorrow at Faneuil Hall and Boston proper. And just to show appreciation for our gig workers, our DoorDash workers, our Lyft drivers, our Uber drivers. So if you're in the area, you want to come through, you want to network, you want to talk, tell us your tips on how you stay safe, what you've ever done in a difficult situation. Have you ever been in a difficult situation where you felt you feared for your safety, or you had to call the police, or you had to report a passenger or a customer? We want to hear from you. And as always, if you have any issues, please reach out to us at bidg.org. Once again, bidg.org. So we have a new system. We will get in touch with you within 8 hours. That is our turnaround time, because your concerns and your issues are our issues too. So everyone, this is short, sweet, and simple. Wishing everyone a great night. Stay safe out there. And just as a reminder, tomorrow is National Gig Safe Worker Safety Day. We appreciate all of y'all and what you do, what you do for us, what you do for the world, what you do for the country. We are really keeping America moving day after day after day. And so we bid you adieu and thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a great night.